The last time I made a video like this, I mainly talked about some much more well-established, much larger YouTube channels, and that was good, but this time around, I want to focus more on some smaller creators, because obviously, I am a smaller creator, and I really do think there is something special about being in this position, because basically no one is expecting anything out of you, and you're free to just be yourself and to make mistakes. There's just really no pressure, you know, and I think that creates a pretty great environment for new creative voices to emerge. And the 3 YouTube channels I'll be talking about today are not exactly reinventing the wheel, but all 3 of them do get me excited about the direction that things could potentially be heading in on this website, because all 3 of them, they just have a very personal feel when it comes to making videos. At the time of this recording, 2 of the channels I'm going to be talking about are hovering around 5,000 subscribers, and the last one I'm going to be talking about has about 15,000. So they're all kind of just getting their start, you know. And the first one I'm going to be talking about is Chris Winger. Chris Winger mainly makes videos about horror-related media, whether that's, you know, movies, video games, or otherwise. And he very often indulges in a lot of nostalgia when he's talking about that stuff. I'd describe Chris as kind of like a Swedish version of Joe Pera a little bit, because he's got a similar sense of humor, and he's also got even somewhat of a similar voice, actually. And, you know, even though he's always talking about all this horrific stuff, he just has a very sweet and wholesome way of going about it. And it's kind of like, you know, when you listen to Joe Pera talking about tomatoes, it's just very relaxing, you know. And it's the same with Chris. If Chris is talking about horror movies, it's just very relaxing. He also just kind of looks like James Sunderland from Silent Hill 2, which kind of automatically makes me just like him a little bit more. And he also has this amazing ability to kind of make it feel like it is perpetually autumn all year round, which is something I really appreciate. And even though Chris is younger than me, when I watch his videos, I sometimes can't help but kind of see him as like somewhat of a father figure type, you know, because he just has that kind of presence. And he just seems like the kind of guy that, you know, I think he'd be really great at teaching me how to fix a bicycle or something like that. And I think at the bottom of it, the real reason that I watch Chris Winger, as much as I do love horror movies, I think the real reason I watch him is more personality based, because Chris to me just seems like the kind of guy he seems to really have it figured out, you know. He seems very well adjusted, and I think for me personally, I think it's good for me to be taking in that kind of influence. And I think just to show you a little bit of what Chris does, I'm just going to play you a clip from the first video of his that I saw, because that's the video that got me interested in his stuff, so maybe it will do the same for you.
Do you guys ever notice how good coffee smells when you're outdoors? Hot chocolate is great too, but I'm having coffee today. Did you guys ever watch a movie called Ginger Snaps? I found it in a secondhand store somewhere around Halloween back in 2017, and it's become a Halloween favorite of mine. Now, if you're gonna put a mutilated dog in the opening scene of your movie, you better make up for it. You better be good, movie, and it is good. In fact, this like 4 or 5 dogs die in this movie, and I still like it. Good job, movie. I still had to give my dog like 100 kisses after watching this, though. He doesn't really like it when I kiss him. He's just being polite. Now, this movie came out in the year 2000, but if you're a fan of edgy 90s stuff, this movie is going to be right up your alley. The Fitzgerald sisters are so cool. They're so cool that they smoke in gym class, and Bridget has a pen that's shaped like a bone. They were just 2 edgy teenagers having fun, talking about killing themselves and stuff, until one day, Ginger, the sister that doesn't have a bone-shaped pen starts turning into a werewolf.
The next YouTuber that we're going to be talking about goes by the name of Daniel James. And with this guy, it seems that what started as just a channel to post some cat videos eventually turned into a channel to post music videos. And now, just within the last year or so, it has become a skateboarding and lifestyle channel. And that is the part of the channel that I'm going to be talking about today. Danny's videos often consist of just some amount of skateboarding, some amount of day drinking, and some amount of just rambling about life. Sometimes Danny will just be hanging out with his friends in his videos, and I kind of just like to live vicariously through that a little bit because, you know, as much as I really do love to skate, unfortunately skateboarding really does not love me back. You know, I just never really had the talent for it. And so I never really had a skate crew like this, even though I always really wanted one. And when it comes to skate culture, I think Danny and his friends more or less embody the kind of stuff that I grew up with. And his friend group just seems like the kind of friend group that I really wish I could have been a part of. Danny doesn't actually have that many videos up right now, so there's really not that much more I can say about his channel. Other than just that, I hope he keeps going. You know, because unfortunately, there really are so many smaller YouTubers that quit early. And my favorite thing about Danny's channel is that sometimes he will include these very earnest monologues, you know, whether that's just to wrap up a video or really if he just feels like he's got something important to say. And so I'm going to leave you with one of those monologues now, because this one in particular was one that was just very helpful for me when I first heard it.
Another good thing about this spot is that no one's around, so I don't look like a complete crazy lunatic talking to a camera filming myself. Fucking YouTube. Feed the bodster. The psychological warfare that you must go through to not only accomplish things like this in life, but things in life, and I think this is a good example of it's just like anything. There's a lot of scary things in life that you have to overcome, and if you don't, you let yourself down and you don't grow from them. You know, they say to don't be so hard on yourself, and yeah, maybe you shouldn't, but when you make it through those hard times, those hard battles, and you come out on the other side and you did it, you accomplished it, you faced your fear, I think that's what it's all about. It's just a 50-50, man. Like, it's just a 50, so just do it.
And finally, we're going to be talking about a YouTube channel created by a guy named Christian Fournier. Christian makes these very short videos that are basically just these little think pieces about life. And he sets them to some very nice guitar music and some very simple visuals. And I just find it very endearing. A lot of his videos have positive messaging to them, which is something that I like. Although I will say that on YouTube, there kind of is a trend right now, or at least like it has been this way for quite a while now, where people feel like they want to be making these motivational videos, and they want to make videos that are kind of giving you advice, you know. And I will say that I'm very skeptical of that kind of stuff because I really don't think there is a key to life, and I don't think there's like a list of 5 things that I got to do in order to achieve my goals. But I think Christian pulls it off in a very nice way because his messaging is always very personal, and so it never really comes across, like preachy to me, because it's always very clear that he's kind of just sharing his own beliefs based on his own experiences. Also, I just really relate to a lot of his videos, and sometimes when I'm watching his stuff, I kind of feel like I'm just watching another version of myself in a way, because Christian is both a drummer and a YouTuber, and I am both of those things. And sometimes the stuff he chooses to talk about in his videos is like exactly the same stuff I was already thinking about. And his stuff inspires me a lot as well, because sometimes, as much as I do like talking about media on this channel, I often think about maybe breaking away from that, or at least expanding what I do, because I do kind of want to, I want to be able to communicate in maybe more of a direct way, and I feel like Christian is already doing that, and, so I just find it inspiring. It was kind of hard to decide on which of Christian's videos to show you for this, because ideally you should probably watch his videos from start to finish, because there's always like an arc to follow. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to show you a clip from one of his videos where he reflects on his reasoning for why he started a YouTube channel in the first place.
When I started making videos here 2 years ago, I thought to myself that the point of this channel was to try something new, something I knew nothing about. And it has been really interesting to reminisce recently about the times in the past when I had a camera in my hand, filming my friends and editing on Windows Movie Maker. I think a lot of times we just do the things we want to in that moment, and we don't give it a second thought. If we keep at it, the hobby grows into something bigger, and again, we don't think about it. It's just something we do. It wasn't until I really sat down and thought about it that I realized that filming things has always been a part of my life. If you're watching this video, I implore you to take some time to look back on your passions and things that you have done, and how they have led you to where you are now. This thought process has helped me cherish not only the videos that I'm making now, but the silly videos I've made that led me to this point more than I did before. In many ways, my process has improved. I have a better camera and better editing software, and I'd like to think I'm making better videos. But at the end of the day, I'm still that little kid interested in capturing the things, people, and life around me. It may not be video making for you, but I'm sure if you really think about it, you can see the breadcrumbs that you dropped as you traversed the path to the person you are today.
So, and that's about it. That about wraps it up. All of the YouTube channels that I've talked about are linked in the description below if you'd like to check them out for yourself. But otherwise, that is it, and I will talk to you later.